There we go. Right, so in this video we'll be deconstructing an old GTX, oh it's not even a GTX, it's a GT640. And it's a card with 2 GB of VRAM, which was really unusual because this was a really low budget card. But yeah, it had 2 GB of VRAM, but the clock speeds were trash on it. It's 75 watts to power it, and there's no external power like connector that just takes it through the motherboard. It's a one single heatsink on it. It's just a standard aluminium fin array. You can play cool tunes on it. That's probably all you'd buy this card for. But interesting story behind this card was one of the first PCs that I bought to kind of like do up in a sense. I got this for free, and the guy was like an extreme weed smoker. I'm guessing it was weed, but you can still see on the PCB where it's got like marks. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. You can see some like stains almost from where I've cleaned this PCB a lot. And I got it, and the fan wouldn't move. It was that stuck with like tar or like weed resin. It was awful. And yeah, I took it apart, and this was the first GPU I ever took apart and put back together, and it worked. But where you might see where it's missing some like gold connectors on the PCB. This is the bit that would go into the PCIe slot. And because it wouldn't use all the bandwidth, they've cut out putting the gold connectors in the bottom here, just to save some money, because it's a budget card. Makes it cheaper for them to produce and cheaper for us to buy, which is kind of good. You'll still see this on modern cards because it just doesn't use all the bandwidth of an X16 PCIe slot. But yeah, we'll be taking this card apart. It's pretty nice budget card. It's nice that I got it for free, but I wouldn't have paid for this card. The 4 screws in the back. Best way to do this is in like an X. I'm doing this with one hand through the camera, so it's not going to be the best. The best way to do this is in kind of like an X form, just to relieve the pressure fairly evenly. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. Yeah. Anyone wondering where to get some cracking set of screwdrivers? Certainly don't go to Maplin, because these are from Maplin when I was young and naive and thought Maplin was the best, but they're shit. Shout out to Maplin, sponsor me. Yeah. And that's us. They are all unscrewed. This is probably one of the easiest cards you could ever take apart. And as you can see, it's already taken apart basically. We're going to have a connector here that's still going to be attached, connector here that was going to be attached to the PCB because it's the power for the fan, but we should be able to just still view the card all right. Sorry, I had a bit of a moment there. Right, so this is the PCB. So here we have, I believe this is called a choke here, and this is the VRM for the GPU. It's relatively small. This is a really small VRM because it's a low power card. These are the capacitors. And capacitor basically works like a mini battery. It's going to build up the charge and dissipate it at a speed that the GPU needs it at, or like a regulated current, so it doesn't provide an unregulated current, if that makes sense, to the GPU, so it's always stable. Here we have the the VRAM, which I've just found out is actually made by, this is an NVIDIA card, if it wants to focus, that is. If you can read that, it says AMD. So AMD were making NVIDIA's memory modules for their low budget cards. There, that's a good one. There. Wow. and I thought I was going insane when I first saw this, but no. AMD making the memory modules. I believe that, excuse me, I believe that AMD switched to, not AMD, Nvidia switched to Samsung for their memory modules later on in the future, or their higher end cards had Samsung VRAM or memory modules on them. Excuse me, my voice is going. I'm not too sure what this is. It doesn't have a serial number or anything on it, or an indicator to what it is. It probably is something to do with these numbers here, but I don't really know. Here I'm guessing this is the maybe video controller for the HDMI. Oh no, it will be up here, so this will be, maybe one of these will be the HDMI video out controller. Possibly, I might be wrong, but yeah. But then I believe, I'm not too sure whether these are mini transistors. I don't know, I might be just chatting rubbish, which I might be. But I think this is another choke here as well. But yeah, that's the card. Logistics wise, it's pretty neat. I suppose you've got a bit of unused space over here, but yeah, it's not bad. So it's 2 gigabytes on the card. So it would be, what you've got, 2, 4, 6, 8 memory modules. So you've got what, 250 meg per memory module? They're not double-sided, are they? No, they're not. As you can see, and just to prove this is just to prove this is a Nvidia card, if this would focus, see where it says N640GT. There you go. That stands for the but that's just because it says 640. Sorry. Yeah. This is, obviously I skipped the main bit here as well. This is the actual GPU graphics processing unit here. This is like the, think of this as the PCB for the CPU, if that makes it, or GPU, and the actual silicon is inside this section here, underneath the thermal paste. I'm not going to take the thermal paste off because it's just hassle, but if you were to just use some toilet wipes or something like that, wipe it over, wipe this over, and this applies to any graphics card really. People say to use isopropyl alcohol. If you're going to work on really high-end hardware, do use isopropyl alcohol, but you don't have to, because I haven't, and I've never destroyed a card, touch wood. But yeah, that's this card basically. This is the power. This is probably the power regulation for this bit here, for the 3-pin fan connector. It's pretty simple. There's not much to it really. But yeah, an aluminium heatsink. Aluminium heatsinks aren't the best. Used on low budget things. Intel stock heatsinks are like this, but high-end stock Intel heatsinks, ones that come with high-end i7s, will be quite thick. Will be quite thick aluminium heatsinks, but have a big copper slug in the center, because copper is a much more conductive metal than aluminium. It draws heat better. But yeah, that's about it for this card. Very surprising that they're using AMD chips. But yeah, thank you for watching. You can still see how dirty this card is after I've thoroughly gone over it. This is about a year and a bit old since I've had it, but the card itself is like 4, something like that. Well, thanks for watching again. Conflict!